Good evening and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. I'm Zach Steele. He's Chris Yao. And Chris, no joy in Mudville for the Huskies or for Pinson Valley.
Nothing going good for us this week. Unfortunately, it was a tough week for our guys. You know, actually both teams played really well. They played two great opponents, and sometimes you just get the short end of the stick.
Well, both just gut-wrenching losses, and we'll get into them a little bit later. Your thoughts on what stood out for you in those two games?
Really the resolve of both Gaston City to continue playing hard, like we talked about in last week's episode. We were talking about how they never quit in that first game. Well, they didn't quit in this one, and it ended up going well for them. As far as Pinson and Austin goes, I mean, that was just a slobber knocker. So that's what stood out to me, was that both teams just played their guts out in a second-round playoff game.
All right, when we come back, we're going to get into the Hewitt and Gaston game and break that one down for you. We'll be back in just a moment.
Trustful Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trustful Vision Care.
Welcome back. And Chris, the Hewitt Huskies were in control in the fourth quarter against Gaston City, a 28-16 lead, and then really with about 4 minutes left, it all falls apart.
That's exactly what happened. We talked about, how Gaston City had played well on defense the first time around. We knew that they would play well again. We didn't think that Hewitt would score a whole lot of points in this one, and a 28-16 lead with 4 minutes to go. Next thing you know, Hewitt uncharacteristically has to kick a field goal, and it backfires. Block, it goes the other way. Gaston City recovers at about the 30-yard line. They go in and score, and from there it was just all Gaston City that last 5 minutes of the game.
And Gaston City, they had a good game plan coming in. They were really going to take the air out of the ball, basically, running a lot of the play clock down. Hewitt only has 3 first-half possessions, only 1 in the first quarter. And, it's a good game plan for Gaston, but it still looked like the Huskies were in control of the ball game late. And it just kind of all falls apart for the Huskies in this ball game. The fumble recovery or the fumble on the kickoff, just really, you have to be, when you're in the stands and you're sitting there watching this game, you got to be thinking, if I'm a Husky fan, hey, we got this in the bag, and all of a sudden, just like that, you're behind.
It was exactly like that. I mean, there was no question the sideline, the players, the coaches. I mean, sure, there was a sense of urgency. There was a sense of, hey, we've got to do what we've got to do to keep the lead. But I don't think anybody on the sideline ever imagined that, in the last 4 minutes of the game, that Hewitt Trustful was not going to win it. And, Elliot McElwain, I saw him after the game, and it just heartbreaking to see that kid, because the fumble on the kickoff was not, it was just bad luck. The guy put his helmet on the ball, and it happens, It just happened at the worst possible time, and it's not something that he needs to, he can't let that determine the rest of his life, and the rest of his football career, because the kid's such a good athlete, and I really hope that he can, get past that. But, boy, he was just distraught on the sidelines, and it was tough.
Well, he's got a lot of football left to play, and kids, especially at this age, bounce back, so I have a feeling he'll be fine. Were the Huskies looking ahead in this one? I have to ask that question. Were they looking ahead to Hoover or James Clemens?
I have to say no, and here's why. Because they did what they had to do. They were ahead 28-16, just like we expected, 2 touchdowns. And if not for 2 fluke, special teams plays. Now, don't get me wrong, Gaston City drove the ball all night long. They on offense, they looked really good. Hewitt got stops when they had to get stops down deep in the red zone, things like that. But the last play, I think it was 3rd or 4th and 12.
4th and 12, yep.
And they throw a jump ball to the end zone, and the guy comes down with it. And they made the plays that they had to make to win the game. It was tough.
All right, so I'm going to throw this question out. Where do the Huskies go from here as we look forward to next season? They're losing a lot of playmakers on both sides of the football.
Yeah, their offense and defense loses a lot. I think you just have to, trust Josh and the coaching staff to develop, players from younger generations. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, though, because I feel like this program is on the right track.
Well, it's still a great season for the Huskies, the only undefeated regular season they've ever had. So congrats to them on that. And I agree with you. I think they're headed in the right direction. I think Josh Floyd has really done some great things here. Bad things happen, bad luck happens sometimes in sports, and we wish them the best going into next year. When we come back, we're going to talk about Pinson, another team who had an absolutely gut-wrenching loss last Friday night.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trustful's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
Welcome back. And Chris, Pinson in a similar situation Friday night. They lose a 4-overtime heartbreaker to Austin.
It was a heartbreaker indeed. And, Pinson Valley played their guts out. They did exactly what we thought they would do. They played very well defensively. Jackie Matthews, Camille Chavers both had really good football games. It's just, one of those things where two evenly matched teams played, and I think they, outside of Matthews' interception that fourth overtime, they could have played till next Friday night.
Well, the Indians get out to an early lead. Austin manages to tie it late in the fourth quarter. Pinson has a chance to win it with a field goal of their own. It gets blocked, and so we wind up going into the overtimes. They go back and forth. Like you said, it could have gone on forever. And the Austin defender makes a fantastic play on the ball, on a ball that looked like Jackie was just trying to throw away.
That's exactly what he was trying to do. It was almost like the Joe Montana, the catch, where he was actually trying to throw the ball away, and Clark comes down with it. It was basically the exact same thing, except the defense that came down with it instead. So Austin's a good football team. We knew that they'd be tough, but this Pinson Valley team was really special this year. Something that I'm not sure that we really expected them to be in a position to make the quarterfinals at the beginning of the year. And Matt Glover and his staff did a great job.
Well, they only graduate 8 seniors off of this team, so future's pretty bright for them.
Oh, it's very bright, and this is a team that I expect will be in the talk next year. That that preseason top 10 team. These guys are going to be really, really good. I'm excited to watch Pinson Valley the next couple of years.
Well, that's our show, and that's our season. Unfortunately. The season's over. It's been a great year. The Huskies had a wonderful year. Pinson had a wonderful year. Clay, a little bit of a rebuilding year. We will see them back in the future, I'm sure. And we'll be back next year. For Chris Yao, I'm Zach Steele. Good night, everybody.